with the shape of an L on his file microfiche.
Head.
We nailed it.
On his manila file.
On his manila file. Cool. Flynn leads me through the narrow hallways, the ceiling laden with visible old piping and the walls covered in dents and scratches. Eventually, we turn into a colorful room that looks like a mix of an old post office and a kindergarten classroom. It
is kind of like that, yes. Yeah. That is kind of correct.
I was so struck by this visual when we came in here last episode because I'm just like, this is such a combination of bright colors I wasn't ready for.
And like you said, if that is the Echo flag up at the top there, that's a really weird flag to have it just be mostly white with nothing.
I mean,
and
shit, if I lived here, I'd give up too.
Yeah. We were going to design more, but we like just kind of gave up.
Oh, because it's the surrender flag.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right. Like I said, archive files are on the back along the south wall. The computer in the corner is logged into the county's GIS viewer. Maps and shit, basically. He points to a cream-colored computer that must be around the early 2000s, by the look of the make. Dust visible on top of the tower. Oh, so like, where the native burial grounds and that sort of thing are? He said maps. So yes, but also everything else.
I mean, would they label that?
Why'd you zero in on that specifically? I mean, now you map things.
Well, I know, but if you're not trying to, like, get into that, I feel like that wouldn't be something you'd, like, put on that map. You just kind of, like, you know, like, look the other way. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if Echo would put that on their public maps.
Flynn crosses his arms, looking back down at me. Yeah, no. As far as I know, the Meseta tribal government hasn't put forth any sacred site claims within miles of Echo. Wow, really? Really? Why is that? I don't have a whiff of a shit's worth of a clue or care.
That's a sentence.
Go ask Jenna if you want to be all weird about it, tit dirt.
Tit dirt.
I don't think she has much ties to her tribe.
Well, she gets really fucking sensitive when you bring up gambling.
Yeah, well, it doesn't stop her from being a bitch about it, whatever she sees fit.
I mean, yeah, I agree with Flynn on that one.
Flynn sucks in his cheek as if saying that left a bit of an unpleasant taste in his mouth. Flynn speaks less than kindly towards folks. Flynn speaking less than kindly towards folks isn't anything new, but not usually about Jenna. He looks down at some papers in his hand, as if they suddenly were very interesting. Is this about what she said when you got Carl the lighter for the reservation? His slitted eyes flick back up at me, his lips thinned. You thought that was bullshit too, right? Well, I think she was still just in, I don't know, den mother mode with regards to TJ after what you did.
Den mother? I like that.
If you want to get everyone talking again, you should just apologize. Oh. Okay. That's just usually something very bad's happening when something like that goes on.
I thought what? For a second I thought the room was darkening and like just Flynn was gonna be lit up, like he's like on a stage. Yeah. He's gonna break out into a song.
Part of your world. I want to be where the people are.
I want people to not fucking hate me. I want to kiss Carl. Maybe just a little bit.
X3 nuzzles.
I want to glomp him. Rar XD.
Oh, you don't know yet that I did I fucking did an ASMR reading of the whole X3 Nuzzles creepypasta or copypasta.
I don't fucking know what that is.
Do we take a little break from our video for a moment to update Stephanie on something?
Oh god, this always happens to me.
I'm so badly positioned for computer things right now. Okay. Pay no attention to the several bad sounds my chair makes. It's just always like that.
No, that's just Keith's back creaking from his
from me
from
carrying
his work.
the show.
I'm just so worthless.
Fuck. I inflicted crimes on the audience recently.
Well, what's new?
How much
You
shit
allowed
is
me on
my
your show.
How much shit is on my Twitter? Did I pass it?
So much shit is on your Twitter.
It's too much sometimes. Let's see. Is this visible? This is visible. So I got this fan art where they joked about me doing erotic ASMR, and then
The microphone does look like a dick.
and then
there.
I called their bluff. Hurrah.
Oh no! I already
How
hate
are you?
this.
You're so warm.
Oh no!
Someone's happy.
Oh my god! I hate this. Ew! No!
So big.
Dude,
And I just read out all of the all the dialogue
nuzzles
parts
your necky
of
wecky.
of the
I
X3 nuzzles.
hate that.
And
Is
then-
that a
and
real?
then you showed up in the response thing afterwards. The idea that I'm just reading this in the next room while you're trying to sleep, and you got your asshole blanket.
Oh my asshole! Yes. Thank you. Yes.
So enjoy your asshole blanket.
Dude, I do hear. So I didn't. I unfortunately was not able to hear the ASMR.
No, I don't know how you would ever
through the
through a
wall.
wall hear me going up close to the microphone.
The only thing I do hear is I walk by, I just hear Keith going like that, yeah. Or I'll hear
I
like,
have to try so hard not to think about the idea that anyone can hear me, because then I won't be able to talk.
or
It's so hard to
I'll
do
hear
this.
like, oh no, like oh, like
Yeah.
squealing and stuff.
It's very hard to do this show if I become too aware that people can hear me in the process. It's hard.
Honestly, I think it's so fucking funny. I don't hear it in my room, but I hear it when I'm walking in the hallway, and
Yeah,
I just
through
like
the
I always
door.
like fucking giggle to myself. I'm like he Keith's doing something funny.
There's a pause in the conversation as Twitter fires up. There's a pause in the conversation as cloud cover shades the light coming in from the window.
How inconvenient is it that your city hall is powered by like sun roofs? And what kind of fucking city hall is this? You don't have lights in your city hall. It's only through
I don't know. I
sunlight
think maybe
through
they just,
skylights.
maybe they just didn't turn lights on in this room or something. They clearly have lights in the other room, but I guess they just wandered back here and it was bright enough they didn't feel like it. That's
think
the best I can think.
Their skylight is probably just like a hole in the tarp of their ceiling because Echo is so fucking poor.
It's not just about the lighter crap. She doesn't give a shit about me, and she really didn't give a shit about Sydney. I blink. I'm still amazed at how much his name is being mentioned after all these years of silence on the subject, especially from Flynn.
Oh yeah.
He catches my expression and grunts, Nagila resting on his side of his hip against the sorting counter. When he died, all she fussed about was how it affected TJ. Sid could rot for all she cared. That's not fair. We were kids, and people react to that sort of traumatic stuff differently. Maybe helping TJ is what kept her occupied. Oh yeah? Remember a few months before it happened, when all that shit was going on with Sid's dad? And fucking Jenna. All she did was try and shield TJ from all the negativity of the situation. She tried to help, but he was different. I don't know, fuck, we were just kids. No, she fucking hated Sydney. Carl hated Sydney. Leo hated Sydney. TJ would fucking never admit it, but he hated Sydney. And you hated Sydney. He looks me in the eyes now. I'm quiet for a moment, trying to think of what to say. Flynn, meanwhile, looks expectant, seemingly waiting for me to blanch and try to defend myself. Sydney was an asshole. He raises his chin some, his crossed arms seeming to squeeze more tightly over his chest. Yeah? So am I. No, not like him. Nobody knew him like I did. You've said that, but that doesn't mean the crap he pulled on us, on TJ, was in any way justified. I'm pretty sure he genuinely enjoyed watching people get hurt. Flynn stares slack-jawed before quickly gritting his teeth. He liked wrestling. He liked pirates. He liked pulpy adventure shit, and he did not like hurting people. TJ cried every day, no matter what. He could see a dead fly on a windowsill and start bawling. And Yuo would drop everything and come rushing to his aid, scorning the shit out of anybody who didn't. We couldn't make jokes, we couldn't tease each other, we couldn't roughhouse, and we couldn't even fucking swear without TJ getting upset. It isn't like we could just go hang out with someone else. This is Echo, and Leo is fucking dead set on keeping the group together. Though now the group for Leo essentially consists of two members, your ass and his cock.
He's like, roll call, ass, present, cock, here.
Flynn's always right. He has the funny thing is it's kind of like a meme that Flynn is always right, and it's often true. Flynn is the most incorrect about the most important thing, though, as we learned last route, because TJ did not. I guess he didn't necessarily think TJ killed Sydney.
He just thinks TJ knows something.
He was just sure that he knew something, so I guess he was right.
Yeah.
He was extremely right, and then he died. Whoops.
Shh, don't tell him. Don't tell him he doesn't know.
I frowned deeply before I could interject. He continues. When Sydney died, you all convinced yourselves it was this fucking monster kid so that it didn't have to hurt as much. I ain't gonna apologize. Fucking hell, they should. Flynn uncrosses his arms, staring out at the sole window of the cramped mailroom. Thanks, thematic cloud. The cloud cover lifts.
Wow, that cloud was like perfect timing.
Perfect, yeah, wild. It's like a lightning bolt. I'll be at the front desk. That was the honesty cloud. That was the takes cloud. They were both distracted because Banjo-Kazooie fan art of me and Toaster just popped up on their screen.
It's adorable.
It's actually really surreal to record Let's Plays, and just sometimes fan art just pops up on the second monitor in real time. And I'm in the middle of something and I'm like, Here, look, you can guest star. This dates the episode a lot. Did you look at the... Do it. There you go.
It's cute.
Look how mischievous he is. He's just gonna fucking yeet that at somebody.
Yeah, he's been a punk ass bitch.
He's about to take somebody out. Somebody's about to get murdered. Oh, the top bar went away. No, I know how to fix this. Windows arrow. There we go. I'm good at computers. I'm a computer voodoo man. Okay. Let's just skip over the racism I just did. It's fine. Oh shit! I'm dropping my controller. Did you? There we go. Everything's fine.
What a professional this guy
Everything's
is.
fine. Where are we? He turns, making his way back down the narrow hall. I'm left alone. Everything feels really quiet now. A sort of weird solace amidst the shelves upon shelves of Echo's history. I rub my face and muzzle, spinning a whisker as the previous conversation plays back in my head and begins to fade like a passing dream. With a slow exhale, I turn and head over at the archives. They all seem to be categorized by numbers, like those. I grab a number with those numbers. Flipping it open, I see a cluster of 15 or so papers and permits for a place called Adelaide's Thrift and Pawn. More like Adelaide's Thrift and Paw.
Oh my gosh, Keith.
Just a dumb idea that fucking furry universes would have self-aware puns as if they they know they're the furry parody universe. It would be so stupid.
Yes. That'd be like if there was like a place that did repairs and it's called like Handyman Workshop.
Yes.
Which like wouldn't make us laugh because we have hands, but we're like, why is the hand part capitalized? We wouldn't get the joke at all. We'd be like,
no.
Who's this joke for?
I don't understand. It sounds familiar. It only takes me a little bit more perusing to figure out why. Near the exit from Route 93 to Flint Road, there's this faded old shack of rotten wood. Growing up, all that was left of the sign out front was Elade's Thrift. Oh, it's missing the ad. They turned on ad blocker.
Oh my gosh.
I think it's bulldozed now since I didn't see it in the drive-in. According to these documents, Adelaide Vondberg applied for and successfully obtained a business license and deed for the property in 1979. I guess these folders correspond to a piece of property with an echo, or a parcel. That helps some, but I'm still not sure exactly where to look. I put the file away and move over towards the computer Flynn got ready for me. The screen displays an aerial photograph of Echo, with little polygons drawn over it like a bizarre checkerboard. Clicking on one, nothing happens. I click again, and the pointer turns into an hourglass. The program starts stating that it's not responding.
Wow.
Damn it. As the hourglass rolls on the screen, I think I hear the front door open down the hall. An hourglass. Wow.
That's old school.
Yeah. I think that was old even. Yeah. It's highlighting how old the computer is, that it's like that's old even at the time that this is set.
Yeah, even in 2015.
I think we already had
that hourglass is old.
I think we already had like the vague spinning circle thing. At first I wonder if it's Carl, but then a voice speaks that I don't recognize. Then Flynn's. I can only make out a little bit what he says. That's what they told you at the county office? You could have come here. The hourglass spins. The unincorporation shouldn't affect developers who... Finally a little window pops up, listing owner, address, parcel number, links to building plans, and other fields. Slow as hell, but this is actually kind of neat, I guess. Curious, I scroll over to the location of the old house and click. This time it reacts a little faster. The complaint forms are physical, not much of an online presence at. It's currently listed as an abandoned and condemned. It looks like the people my parents sold it to ditched it rather quickly. Aw. I move back towards the archive, picking up my old house's corresponding file and setting it down on the counter.
Well, at least we know that his parents aren't here now. Because we kept bringing up, like, why is he not visiting his parents?
Yeah, us bringing that up led to people pointing out that we just forgot that they're not there.
Oh, sorry, everybody.
I don't remember if it was called out very specifically, but it probably was. But also, like, they keep mentioning that, like, they mentioned that the only otter that lives here still is the fat one.
Yes.
Opening it, I see a weathered floor plan of my old house dating back to 1986. Nothing here could be remotely considered of interest to my project. However, I put the file back where I found it. As I hear the increasingly quiet rasp of Flynn's voice in the other room, I realize he's probably too busy to hold my hand with regards to where to look. Especially after the previous conversation. It might be best to just give him some space.
Yeah, no fucking kidding.
I stare at the aerial display on the computer monitor, trying to figure out where to start looking.
Well,
a choice?
Yeah, I wonder if we get to go through all of these, or if we just get one. Oh, a choice.
Just reflexively save at choices to make my life easier later, if that's relevant. Just imagine we pick one of these, and then all we get is just like this like pixelated image of like a face with a raised eyebrow, and they're like, "What was that? Where'd you just go?" Like the computer's like, "What was that? What's up with your face when you make choices? Like, what are you doing?"
The computer's making fun
like
of us?
it also notices what Flynn noticed. Did you see that thing I sent you with the kudzu?
Yeah.
I sent Stephanie a kudzu comic earlier today. That is. It's it's relevant to the Flynn stuff, which is whatever Flynn is seeing on Chase's face when we make choices for him. But it was Chase and Kudzu were at some diner with a couple of other friends in a booth, and they're just like, "Is something okay? Is your friend okay? Like, is your boyfriend okay? Like, he looks weird," and it's just Kudzu's just sitting there like looking normal and picking out stuff and being like under expressive the way that he is, but like that stern stoic look. And then Chase is just like,
he's like,
his eyes are unfocused and he looks like he's drooling and he's just staring at the menu. And in all 4 panels of the comic, he never moves at all. Well, and Kuz just looks over. He's like, yeah, he's just choosing what to eat, and then looks away again. Like he just moves on. He's just used to Chase doing this apparently, and his friends are concerned.
In your everyday life, you're encountered with so many decisions that if a person was to do that every time they had to make a decision, it would be constantly annoying.
Yeah, it's like, what is that face he's making? Is this guy okay? Is this like an otter thing, or?
I mean, I zone out all the time.
Let's see.
But not drool level.
Carl's Mansion, City Hall, The Abandoned School. I mean, these are all good. The mine's the most relevant to everything, I guess.
Mine is the most relevant for sure. I'm just weirdly interested in Carl's Mansion.
You want to look at Carl's Mansion?
We could look. I mean, I think we're going to go through all of them.
Maybe.
So.
I know enough about Carl's family to know that his house is seriously old. His great something or another is the town founder, after all. The place has been seriously modernized to a more stucco Adobe style.
Hate stucco. Stucco sucks so.
Stuck on these nuts.
That would hurt.
Don't you love having textured walls that you can't hang anything on?
You can't hang anything on them, and you can't apply wallpaper, which is my dream because I love elaborately patterned wallpaper, and I'll never be able to achieve my dreams here.
Every time you get those like the displays and stuff like that, or just anything else that you order that's supposed to be like a hookless hanging system, it's like, Hawaii, you can hang this anywhere without putting any holes in the wall. It's like, unless you're in California, where every wall in the entire state is textured for some reason, and you're stuck with that.
It has something to do with. I thought it had something to do with acoustics.
I think it's just a local like design. Just like local vibes.
I mean, I do think it's weird when I'm watching movies or something and I see a wall that is flat because I'm so
because you're not used to it.
Seeing the textured wall, but like once again, like I want to have like a house like Knives Out level of maximalism.
Yeah.
So
you want to live in an Applebee's.
Not okay. Applebee's if they had good taste.
Yeah.
And it wasn't based on your local town because all Applebee's are based on their local towns, and I hate going in there and it reminds me of where I live, and I'm like, why are you doing this?
That's the worst that you can do to me.
I'm trying to escape.
We don't live somewhere cool.
Yeah, I want escapism.
We came in here to not be out there.
Exactly. Don't show me the local sports teams in the high schools on the wall here. Like, fuck you, Applebee's.
I'm in this photo and I don't like it.
Yeah.
We need to live somewhere that's cool, so our Applebee's experience can be only subpar instead of horrible.
Yeah, I've never had a good meal at an Applebee's.
No, not great. The place has been seriously modernized into a more stucco Adobe style, but there's still some history underneath all that. Growing up, Carl overheard all this and started thinking the place was haunted. It freaked him out pretty badly. So much so, his parents basically begged me to have sleepovers with him during weekends, and even some weekdays. Not that I minded, of course. Carl had all the video game consoles that were out, and his parents had bought him M-rated games. Ooh. M-rated games. Oh my god. Like, as a kid, you're like, oh, this is so fucking cool and edgy. I get to play the M-rated games. You look back now and you're like, oh, Perfect Dark was M-rated? What the fuck?
I did.
Why?
In the second grade, I had a really rich friend who was a brat, whose parents also begged me to hang out with her because I was nice, which is weird to think of because I'm not nice, but apparently by comparison, I just was nicer than this person. But no, she had Grand Theft Auto, and that was like,
yeah.
I remember being like, whoa, your parents bought you Grand Theft Auto? I did not monitor any aspect of this. We also watched a bunch of movies we shouldn't have watched, like a lot of them.
Oh yeah, that's just a childhood memory. No, my parents. I remember at one point my parents my mom let me rent Dead or Alive 2, and then took it away after, like, shortly thereafter, because she found out from somewhere that it's pornographic, where that's just a fighting game that has like bouncy booby ladies in it, and that's about it.
Bouncy titties.
Like, it's not pornographic. It's just women that have physics on them or whatever, but also like, joke's on you, everyone playing this game is gay.
I mean, the volleyball one has to be for somebody.
But my mom has such a blind spot with this stuff that, like, she would take away a video game instantly if she vaguely heard that it was pornographic or whatever. But she was just permanently was 100% sure, and kind of still is, that all animation of all kinds is for kids.
Yeah.
So we got a lot of adult anime. Like, a lot of, like horny-ass Tenchi cartoons and stuff like that.
Ooh.
Like, we had a lot of really horny cartoons we grew up with, because she would not question anything that was animated at all. And obviously she wasn't going to watch it with us, so she wasn't paying attention. So, like, it was just very funny that the contrast there, that she would not catch any of that, but she would catch video games instantly, even when she was wrong half the time. But still, we still got to play a lot of M-rated games because she'd not pay attention to that. Like, Conker's Bad Fur Day, she wouldn't question, because she would see that game is M-rated, but it's on the Nintendo 64. But they went out of their way to extra highlight that it's not a kid's game, and that it's supposed to be like an edgy adult cartoon animal game that's a parody of those things.
Yeah.
By literally having, like, "This ain't for the kiddies," like, right on the cover. She didn't pay attention to that at all. She just sees cartoon squirrel, doesn't look a single second longer, doesn't check the M rating, doesn't see the part where it literally says not for kids. So we grew up playing Conker's Bad Fur Day, which, honestly, is for the kiddies. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, that's a great game.
There were, like, no sincerely M-rated games that deserved being M-rated for, like, several more generations, practically. Like, I know there was, like, I think there was, like, Custer's Revenge or something like that, all the way back on, like, the original, like...
where you see the naked...
Yeah, there was, like, a guy with his dick out in, like, a fucking, like, pre-Nintendo console or something, like, one of those like, super primitive-looking games, like Adventure and stuff like that. But besides that, like, almost nothing that was M-rated was, like, much of anything. And it's very funny looking back and seeing that the two games that had the big controversy for being, like, child corrupting games, and we need to make a whole rating system now because, like, games are getting too out of hand. Like, one of them was Mortal Kombat, which is admittedly, like, the whole gimmick is to have gory fatalities, but the graphics were so bad that it was like, oh no, a skeleton.
Yeah, dude, yeah, look at them now. I'm like, they're so fun.
But the other one was fucking, what is it? Was it called House Trap or something? What was it called again? Night Trap.
Night Trap.
Which was Five Nights at Freddy's, but with ladies.
Ooh, no. Ooh,
but, like, it's just a game where, like, I could be wrong because I haven't played it, but I think Night Trap doesn't have a single instance of actual nudity in it.
No, it doesn't.
It just occasionally has, like, a few scenes of, like, oh no, is she gonna be changing? Oh, then the ninjas come in. Like, it's a game where ninjas are coming in and attacking people hanging out at a house. And you're like, oh no, can't let the kids see this one.
People were, like, just extra weird about it because it was photographs. It was, like, photorealistic.
Yeah, it was real life.
Games.
It was real life. Yeah, FMV. It was full motion video, actual video of people. But it's just like a super primitive series of videos that play, and if you press the right button, the ninjas get beaten up or they win.
Yeah, you basically have to make a series of choices. It's very little gameplay.
It's a very funny game.
It's more narrative and silly.
The fact that got iterated on and basically got turned into Five Nights at Freddy's, and that's like one of the most popular things, is wild. And that itself is a children's property that that itself is like a super popular with kids. It's funny. History of video games is stupid. I just look at old Nintendo 64 games. That's what spurned this whole thing. Is I look at my 64 games collection and just get, like, jump scared by the M rating here and there, and I'm like, what?
The one I really wanted was, as a kid, was Manhunt.
Manhunt. I have Manhunt.
I
just said Manhunt.
I actually do too, but I will say, I long time ago I tried to play it, but I hated the tank controls so much I couldn't get myself to finish
I still haven't played it. I saw the
controls
store.
Are fucking
it's
so
just on the wall
sucky.
Of classic games over there.
But it has my favorite like booklet that comes with the game, because it's made to look like because it's all about making snuff films, and it's like the order catalog.
Yeah,
it's made to look like an order catalog for snuff films.
I should try to play Manhunt this year.
Little me
just to finally know.
Loved it. I love shit like that. When I was a kid and I heard what that game was about, I wanted it so bad because I was a fucked up little child.
Yeah.
It's really not very bad when you look back on it now, especially in comparison to like what I look at currently. But
No.
like, yeah.
Especially not compared to my browser history.
Oh, yeah, no, dude. Fucking.
This video game is shit.
I don't. Yeah, no.
Look at this embarrassing normie crap.
Don't show
What
my.
do you think this is, edgy?
Don't show my family. Burn my phone when I die.
Welcome to my trauma folder. It's labeled homework.
Yeah, that is honest. That is actually a trauma folder.
His parents bought him all the M-rated games. I got to stay up late with this giant TV, blowing up aliens and running over hookers.
Yeah.
Wow, GTA. Extremely rudimentary at this point. Going back to GTA 3 now is rough. I remember he started to become less afraid as time went on, and his parents stopped asking me to come over as much. So they hated me, obviously.
He desensitized himself using the M-rated games.
I don't like Chase anymore. Stop asking him to come over.
Yeah, Mom, why do you keep inviting him? I don't even like him.
Yeah. So of course, shitbag younger me told Carl a bunch of stories about a ghost bride who I said I saw standing outside his house at midnight.
God, what an asshole.
And that's how I got to spend my whole 5th grade summer vacation living at Carl's place.
What an asshole.
It's really... I love how much every time we learn more about Chase, this is a story we already heard before, but still, it's always, every single time it's him being a dick. He's always a bad person.
He's traumatizing his friend to need him. Like,
Yeah.
that's a very toxic
Yeah.
relationship level right there.
Yeah, Chase deserved a Leo. After looking up the parcel number, I retrieved the corresponding file and lay it out on the mail counter. This one has an archival notice attached to the front. That's pretty surprising on account it's a residential lot. Opening the folder, a photo placed in front of all the documents immediately catches my attention.
Who's that sexy man?
Whoa!
Whoa.
What?
That catches my attention too.
Somebody left their furry porn on the counter here.
Flynn.
It's just covered in Flynn's fingerprints. Huh. I think what throws me about this is that it means that they were... in the Echoverse, people just were built different back then. Back in 1915. I just think about, like, when we went to the... we went to the train museum.
Yeah.
And so what stood out to me there is that they have the big statue. This is the old Sacramento train museum. They have this big statue of a Native American rail workers.
No, it was workers of all cultures. So it was a Chinese man, a Native American man,
Yeah.
a white man, but they're all working on the railways together. But
there's just like this specific like hyper idealized, super masculine, crazy built, jacked dudes like
yeah,
statue.
they're fucking all ripped.
Then you walk over to the actual area that has photos from back then, and they all have dad bods. Like they're all
they just look realistically fit. Like
they have arms
in a practical way.
They've got like arms and chests, but then they're also just like blobby and like they're heavy because like they're just like they're human beings and shit. They're not like weird like statue bodybuilders, and that juxtaposition is very interesting to me, where it's just like this idea of what dudes look like back then that we make statues of and paintings of, and then you have like images of the actual dudes that were doing all the hard work, and it's like, that's what the ideal male form looks like. Well, somebody that works all day, still just like they still look like that and not like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Well, first of all, like we have a really warped interpretation of like what being muscular is because because everyone uses steroids. Like fucking even people you don't think use them. A lot of people that people see in the media use them for sure. But secondly, like you're working out muscles that you wouldn't normally use. So there's a difference between like a person
it's cosmetic.
Being functionally buff as opposed to just being buff because
like that scene in Fight Club where Ed Norton and Guy are thinking about how like
the Calvin Klein model is.
They're thinking about how like it's just masturbatory.
Yeah. But like for example, like if you see someone with like really big traps, like the big like neck muscles, it's like you don't usually use those. So if you have those bulging up really high, that's abnormal because there's not a lot of physical activities you can do in a human being life that you'd use that much to make them that big.
Yeah.
So back in the day when people weren't doing weightlifting and things for appearances or for fun, people were only buff if they just used their bodies. But we don't use our bodies as much anymore because most things are automated. Most things don't require physical labor. So we forget what a functionally buff body looks like because people aren't just doing hard labor. If you look at, like, there's some fucking sexy ass farmers out there who are just doing farm work, not realizing that they're fucking sexy because they're just doing work that requires manual labor and just getting fit on accident. Those people are that's what the railway workers looked like.
Yeah. But like I think they kind of just used. I think this might be a custom drawing, or a draw over that's like slightly meant to like replicate some of the painter style in Echo a little bit, but he's still exactly him shaped, which is surprising to me. Because in my brain, I guess I kind of I interpreted some of the wild jacked dudes of the smoke room, because that's what this guy's from, as being like a wish fulfillment art style that's not necessarily like what they literally look like if they were drawn in the Echo art style, for example. Like they would be converted a bit. Mm-hmm. But this is like, he just looks the same here. And I'm like, so now we just have to now poor Chase just has to reckon with the idea like this is just what men used to look like back when they were real men. The Echoverse, they're just, dude would just look like this. That was just normal. Fuck it.
Yeah. No.
This is one of the love interests from the smoke room, which I still don't know the story of for shit, but that's my one little inkling of context I can add to this, is that this is somebody who was romantically interested in Sam in at least some timelines, because Sam's the protagonist of the smoke room and he's one of the route characters. His name is William Adler? Is that his name? That sounds correct in my brain. I think his name's Will. And this photo may have been taken by Murdoch, because I think the Fox character is a photographer, but I'm just scraping. I'm guessing. I'm reaching at that point.
I just want to tell Chase, like, that's what a good-looking chin beard looks like, Chase.
and the giant sideburn mutton chop.
I love the sideburns. Those are cute.
They really frame his head. This character trips me up a bit. So I would see art of him without context, just randomly. And like, I thought he was a Chihuahua for some reason, like a giant jacked Chihuahua, because I don't know, he gives like the vibe. He kind of has like those bitten ears and shit, and just kind of gives that vibe, that scrappiness. But I guess he's a coyote, is the idea. But he's a surprise, because he, like, when they went all hyper masculine with his design, they did something that I don't think is normally true with Echo characters, which is that he has hair. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He has hair and like beard in a way that's unusual for the Echoverse. A lot of these characters just have like specifically the women often suddenly have like hair, I think. No, actually no. I was thinking Black Set for a second there. In the Echoverse, even Janice just is like a coyote.
Yeah, but in this case, it's just like it's like fur, but it's just a different color. Like,
yeah, but I just mean like he looks like he specifically has hair on top of his head that's even like styled a little bit, like it comes down over his face a little bit, and he's got like these like sideburn things. Like it's a surprise just because that almost nobody seems to be drawn that way, and he kind of looks like he's drawn that way. Like he has styled hair and like he chooses how his beard is shaped or something. Well, in a
furry real world, let's just say, like Chase had to dye his little stupid
exactly. Chase had to dye it. He doesn't just grow out a beard.
But if you happen to be an animal that was a multicolored animal, you could hypothetically just so happen to have darker hair on top of your head in a length that isn't unusual for the hair that would be on top of the coyote's head anyway. Yeah. It just so happens to be dark. Or this guy could be dyeing all of it, and that's fine too. But he has it on his elbows.
In 1915.
He has it on his elbows, he has it on his neck, so I feel like it looks naturalistic because it seems like he has patches of
it's part of his palette. It just looks surprisingly like Fursona hair compared to most of the characters I've seen. And I think compared to every other sprite I've seen from that game so far, out of context. So I'm like, that's interesting. It's interesting what happened there.
I usually think of coyotes as being really lithe, though, so because they're always like kind of strong and thin.
I expect a coyote to be more like twinkish, and then like the wolf would be the big jacked character or something. So when this guy was so big, I'm like, oh, he must be a chihuahua. Like I went even further in the other direction.
Yeah. That's like way far.
Doesn't he give off chihuahua vibes?
No.
Sound off in the comments.
His eyes.
What animal does this guy look like?
His eyes aren't gigantic.
What animal do you think this guy is? Don't forget everything all the truth so far.
He doesn't look like he'd be shivering in place like chihuahuas do.
Is he even wearing pants in this photo? Like,
doesn't matter.
What is the context here? I wonder if we'll get a 3-hour backstory for this photo in the smoke room. Isn't that right, George? Yeah. Wow. A part of my mind immediately flashes back to Leo, but even he wasn't anywhere close to being this defined.
Yeah.
I guess life in the early 20th century will do that for you. I should probably read the caption note for this that was attached. Sheriff William Adler, boom! My memory is so good at things. Rests after surviving the partial collapse of Hendrick's castle. What happened?
Who takes a photograph? Okay. Is the castle in
what
the
a goofy
background?
caption. Like, what a funny level of like... I feel like this is a tongue-in-cheek, joking caption, half making fun of the scenario.
Surviving the partial collapse of Hendrick's quote-quote castle.
Doesn't this feel sarcastic? My hunky BF resting after escaping the collapsing castle. Like
after he saved me because he's Mario and I'm a princess.
Yeah. The Hendrick's castle? I mean, don't react to that too much. It was literally in quotes in the caption.
Yeah.
Below the note are some rather old, rudimentary building plans, crumbling at the edges. The penmanship is all weird cursive and I can't read it. It does look a little like Carl's house, but much, much, much larger. What follows are a series of deed transfers from various members of the Hendricks family, and eventually more modern building plans. There's even a cutout from a magazine, Southwestern Modern, which shows off the kitchen space back when it was first redesigned. I noticed something wedged in the back, a beige piece of paper that doesn't look like anything else in here. When I look at stuff like this, I wonder... It's like, I think about the fact that, like, the last route we did ended with, Cameron and not shit, I'm so bad at names sometimes. Really? I'm losing his name right now. Cameron and Devin. And I guess I got context is that was Paint Fox, the artist of that game, trying to draw the sprites in the style of Echo, essentially. Because I was like, why do they look different? I'm not trying to make sense of that. But like, I think at that point they already had plans for arches, even if they didn't know exactly what they were doing. The Flynn route was written late enough. I'm wondering if they were already working on the smoke room and already had plans for specific scenes and knew how they would pay off stuff like this, where they're like hinting at what happened in the past. Or if it's like they're just throwing stuff around and it's like, haha, good luck, smoke room guy, you gotta like make up a backstory for this photo now. It's canon. Let's see, is he gonna read it out loud in a way that's more helpful than reading that text? A poem? Why would this be here?
Can you read it?
Embrace of these lands. Boik.
Boink.
Boik.
Boink.
As black takes the sky, hot turns to cold. The safety of ignorance. From the specters of the day. Shut their eyes, their wail. For the dark blanket. And to save them from a hell. And the blonde tarantula pulls itself from the depths, wrought within and without, in search of a suitor who will not live past the vehemence of its love. Oh, that's what's at the bottom. I was like, wait, you skipped who wrote it. I thought it was gonna have a name.
I don't like that they left such a big space there. That bugs me.
Does this frustrate you?
Yes, it does.
I flip over the poem and set it down on the counter. On the other side is a notice of death, for reference in an estate transfer. It's for a James Hendricks who passed away in 1913, 2 years before that photo.
Oh yeah, Hendricks Castle.
Yep, because it's Carl's family. James being the same character from the Carl route that possessed him. The cause of death is listed as poison/infection. Theraphosidae tarantula.
Bullshit.
Got bitten by a tarantula?
That ain't gonna kill you.
This is pretty unsettling. I didn't think tarantulas were poisonous.
They're not really. Like, I mean, they're... Okay.
I mean, I know they aren't because I fear searched that information online one night after seeing one on the back porch at 3 a.m.
Keith knows that because he fear searched it after he found out he's living with me and all my tarantulas in my room.
I was already like very vaguely convinced that tarantulas are safe. Like they're not.
They have a mild
really
venom.
dangerous.
Like they're considered mildly venomous in the same way that like a bee, you know.
Yeah, I mean tarantulas were already the ones where I'm like, oh, they're kind of cool. I just don't necessarily want them nearby when I'm sleeping. I'm just like, oh look, like they're cool to look at. They're bigger and you can see they're like hairy and things. Like they're less inherently creepy than smaller spiders are.
Well, they're less fast. I mean, it depends. Sometimes some of them are fast, but
yeah.
Like they're not as fast and they're easy to spot. They don't, you know, it's harder to lose one.
Yeah. I guess that poem was some sort of informal epitaph for this guy. Regardless, it's a shitty way to die. It's also probably just wrong. That's the real truth, is that they probably just are wrong about how he died.
I had a blonde tarantula once, and it was so nice and so sweet. She was an angel. Her name was Candy.
Candy.
She wouldn't have killed me, even if she could.
She would have.
she's like, I fucking hated this bitch.
I slide the poem/death notice back into the folder and make a note of it for the project. I think that's all for this parcel, so I place the folder back in its slot on the south wall. We're getting context. We're getting worldly context. Here we go. Well, now I've got to look at the mine, right? I wonder if they're all going to bring up smoke room characters. Like, is this one going to bring up the badger?
Maybe.
The hot badger? There's something about the old mine that feels off to me.
Oh, really? It's like fucking it's scary as all fuck.
Poor Chase has no idea how much we've learned. Unlike pretty much every locale in Echo, the mine was the one place we absolutely did not play.
Yeah, no.
A really weird way to place to play.
If I was your mother, I'd be like, do not play in the mine.
Mm-hmm.
It's the most non-play place.
Can't you just play in grass like normal kids? What the fuck?
Why are you playing in the mine again?
Get out of the storm drains. Sydney tried to make one of our scavenger hunt objectives down in there once, but TJ told his mom about it, and that was the end of that. And that's why he tried to drown him.
And that's why he got obsessed with scavenger hunts.
Because TJ's a little narc. After looking up the parcel number, I retrieve the corresponding file and lay it out on the mail counter. This one has an archival notice attached to the front. I guess my hunch might be right. Opening the file, the first thing I see is that there is a seriously large amount of documents here, and even a laminated old photo.
Not as cool as the last one with the hot guy in it.
It's like just some kind of mine or whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
What does CM stand for?
I don't know. I was trying to figure that out too. Current. No.
Is Murdoch his first or last name? I wonder if that's even the people or not. I don't know. Huh. That's a hell of a lot more verdant than it is these days. Might have something to do with the damming they did up north in the 50s. They just killed this entire environment of all of its tree coverage. I'm guessing the CM 1915 is referring to the year the photo was taken.
I was trying to find CM if CM means anything in terms of photos,
yeah.
But it doesn't really seem like it means. I can't find anything about it. Like it talks about photo resolution in CM, but it's definitely not what this is about.
Within the folder itself, many of the documents seem to be legal in nature, including documentation about a lawsuit of some sort. The ones on top seem to relate to the tourism program Echo tried a decade ago. There's a few papers about a historical heritage grant, and the installation of a bench and 2 lamps outside of the mine's entrance.
Yeah, you want to go relax peacefully in front of this very scary looking mine shaft?
Yeah. The horror shaft. There's even reference to a large placard installed into the side of the rock face outside, but I don't remember ever seeing that. Following this, there's another folder within that contains some condemned notices and squatter evictions dating back from 1970 to 1975. Said folder also notes a work order for the installation of rebar bars in the mine front to prevent entry in 1976. Next, there's the actual lawsuit documentation itself. The lawsuit contributed, in part, to the official closing of the mine during the war in 1942. The working conditions were abysmal, and the owners of the mine were also heavily involved in town government, so there were corruption charges. The Danica mine, also known as the CSCG, copper, silver, coal, gold. it's like a German word in English. Copper, silver, coal, gold mine was the most. I don't know why'd you write it as one word? It's unnecessary.
Yeah, I don't know.
Was the most in-demand employer in the northern portion of this state for decades. Why is that hyphenated? Whatever. Of this state for decades. This was in little part due to management by the owners, but rather the natural conditions of the mine itself. The structure of the bedrock kept cave-ins unlikely, and its chemical composition kept the temperature stable and somewhat bearable. Which is why the bear dens in there and puts all of his bodies there.
But it said it was
Foreshadowing.
unbearable.
No, it was somewhat bearable. One bear.
Oh, somewhat. Oh, I see.
It bears one bear. Flooding was of minor concern due to the low water table of the region. In other mines within the state, miners may have expected to stand in 2 feet of dirty water in 40-degree temperatures, all while the threat of a cave-in loomed, amplified with every strike of the sledgehammer. Yet even still, the mine managed to have one of the highest casualty rates for its workers in all of the Southwest.
Makes sense.
The suit argues that this was at root due to severe negligence of the owner, Gregory Briggs. Name to remember for the next game. Miners were required to buy their own tools, including candles, sledges, picks, stakes, and even dynamite.
Dude, you better be able to write that off in your taxes.
BYOD. Normal request. Their wages, however, were of such little amount that many miners must have been forced to choose between having these tools and their family being able to eat that week. Many chose the latter, as most men who moved to Echo did so with the explicit purpose of being able to provide for said families. Briggs operated the mine under constant fear of worker unionization. To assuage this, he hired an incredibly nationally diverse assortment of workers. So he specifically hired a diverse workers so they wouldn't come together.
Yeah, but I was going to say right what they're about to say, where if you got people that don't speak the same language, they can't unionize.
That's dark and cruel, but I'm pretty sure they fucked the tiger, so I don't think it worked. His rationale, though denied in court, was to ensure that no group of workers spoke the same language, thus reducing the chance of collaboration. Which seems really bad for them doing their job safely, for better working conditions or wages.
It's like, oh, how do you say dynamite in all the languages? Better learn it.
Yeah, like, what the fuck? This preventative action was particularly heinous due to the nature of the work itself. Communication was crucial, especially in the low light conditions of the lower depths. Despite the language barrier, miners were expected to coordinate dangerous group mining procedures. For example, for standard ore extraction, one miner would hold a spike to the mine wall while another miner swung the sledge towards the spike. With light sources being scarce, this meant that the risk of striking the other miner with the sledge was a constant risk, something that occurred with some frequency.
Oh gosh.
Many miners were crippled from blows to the paws or arms, and then once fired, were unable to support their families. This led to several notable starvation incidents within the town. The lawsuit documents also includes reference to a brief riot in 1915, where a grisly murder took place within the mines itself.
A grisly murder?
A grisly murder? That's never happened in the mines of Echo.
Yeah.
Grizzlies are harmless.
Obviously, ask the grizzly man.
Is that how you spell grizzly?
Yeah. That is how you spell grizzly.
I know that's how you spell grizzly bear.
Yeah.
I didn't know if Grizzly Murder was spelled like that or like gristly.
No,
Because
it's
grizzly is also a word.
yes, yeah,
So-
but and it's not spelled. That's how
Yeah.
you spell grizzly murder.
Which is weird because like a Grizzly Murder would feature gristle. Not grizzlies. Unless.
is gristle like fat?
It's like a gore word, right?
I don't.
Define gristle in the comments.
Well, I was just saying I don't eat meat, so gristles like never come up for me. In
Yeah,
terms
but you
of, like,
also pay more attention to butchering stuff than anyone else does.
weirdly enough.
So you're more
yes.
likely to know what gristle is, I feel
Well,
like.
I've heard of people talk about like if I was reading like American Psycho right now, I'm sure the word gristle
Yeah.
is in there, but I
That's
don't
why
know.
my dumbass knows it.
I don't know what part of the person, like what is that fat? Is that like
Point to me please point out the gristle on the chicken.
I had to look up, and it's funny because I did take that class that taught me animal parts
Yeah.
through meat. So I'd explained to your brother that pork butt isn't actually pork butt the other day.
Pork butt.
Pork butt is actually pork shoulder.
It's called pork butt.
Yeah.
And it's shoulder.
Yeah.
Why is it called pork butt?
The pork butt is the ham cut of the. So ham is
It's the butt.
is
it's
the
the butt of the ham. Is that why it's called butt?
What? No.
It's like a ham is like a big old thing. And it's like that's the butt of it. Is that why they call it pork butt?
No, you're getting confused.
Why do they call it pork butt?
Pork butt is the shoulder of the pig.
Why do they call it pork butt?
The actual, like, what we consider a butt of a pig is the part you call ham.
Why do they call it pork butt?
I don't fucking know.
Usually they name things more appealingly. People aren't usually chomping to get that ass. Like, I mean.
Well, I don't know. Maybe it looks like a butt. I don't eat meat.
It's weird, like, it's just like, why would you go straight to butt? It's like, that's just not a word you'd want to call it. Well, it's not accurate. Like, that's not a bonus.
I'm taking.
Everyone's all up in the pig anus. Can't wait.
I'm taking veterinary classes for animals. Why am I learning about meat cuts? It's because I'm going to a school that focuses on agriculture.
Yeah.
In case people are wondering why I know anything, but
Yeah.
I had a test on it.
Yeah, the veterinary, but for the incentive of butchering.
Well, because you
Yay.
could go
You
into
gotta take proper care of the
that.
animals so that you can then chop them up.
Yeah. Technically,
It's even better if you know their names.
I got to play with goats the other day. I got to occlude the vein on a goat. It was fun.
Occlude the vein on a goat.
Uh huh.
What does occlude mean in that context?
Or you make the vein pop out so you could see it for injections.
No. I was like, what are you just out here just elbow deep, just putting in like vein stints and shit?
No,
like,
I'm
what are you up
not. I'm
to?
not that far into my classes yet. They're not letting me deal with gore yet.
You haven't
so-
done any pagan sacrifices yet?
Not yet.
Soon.
They're not letting me get my hands on the blood. They take the blood and they take it away from
That's
me.
the real long con you're doing here. Is
I'm like, damn it! I need goat blood.
You're trying to perform the slowest ritual right now. Like you just need to. Just one of these days, you've already got to cut the neck of a goat. And then I'm set. And then Basil Bo will be back.
Cutting the neck of a goat, that's a part of a vet class, right?
Yeah, right. Any day now.
Just kidding. I would never cut the neck of a goat because I love goats. I don't know. Other animals would be on my list
Depends
first.
on how much they put you into the butchering classes. Anyway, Grizzly Murder.
Yeah, sorry.
I think we're setting up explicit events of Smoke Room at this point because we've already established that William's there in 1915. So I think we're just now we're doing fan service / connections with the other game. I make sure to write summaries of all this information on a blank sheet of printer paper before putting everything back. What if Chase's report, his project, is the visual novel, The Smoke Room? That's what he turns in.
Well,
he did a good job.
he gets like an F on
Gratuitous
the paper.
porn, though.
The teacher gives him the same speech as the guy does to Adam Sandler in Billy Madison, where he's like, in no way have you completed this project. Like,
I award you 0 points.
we are all more gay for having listened to it. For this, I award you 0 points.
Victory.
Like, you have failed the class.
I mean, it's really detailed, I think, so it's probably a great report. It's just a very unusual amount of detailed sex scenes for a college report.
Teacher's like, this is a little bit more cock than I asked for in the rubric for this project. I'm gonna have to dock some points for that.
It's a bit peckish. This is the sort of crap that makes me glad I live in the age I do now. I don't think I'd make a very good miner.
No,
the
you
only
wouldn't.
job that existed back then. There definitely wasn't like a typesetter or anything back then. Everyone was miners, and all of those hard labor jobs famously disappeared in modern year. Like, what are you saying, Chase?
Well, Chase wouldn't be good at anything, so he's right
Haven't
about
you
that
seen
part.
that one meme that conservatives share every time they want to talk about real men? There's like these guys just covered in mud and shirtless and operating some kind of weird claw thing.
And miserable and dying.
They look like they're going to die tomorrow in that job. All right, that's that, I guess. Abandoned school.
I'm interested in this one.
After finding that parcel on the GIS thing, I can't seem to find the corresponding file to it. It's like it doesn't exist in any records here. Or it might just be misplaced. I'm gonna go with the second theory. Maybe I'll ask Flynn about it later.
Aw.
Mwah.
Wah, wah.
Fuck you, Stephanie.
Damn it.
City Hall has a lot of history. I assume most of the really old stuff isn't on file, but I'd be curious to see what's there regardless. After looking up the parcel number, I retrieved the corresponding file and lay it out on the mail counter. This one has an archival notice attached to the front. That's good. Hopefully that means there's supplemental information in there. Unfortunately, upon opening the file, I see that there aren't that many documents. There is, however, a marked photo of some sort wedged between the folder edges.
Oh.
Is it the same day, or?
Well, no, he's got a shirt on this time, so the sexy
People can't wear a
coyote
shirt
guy.
and not wear a shirt the same day.
Yeah,
That's
who-
impossible.
Who does that?
His name is Clint, I think.
It'll probably reveal it to you when we read the back.
Just think about like the Padoop over in the Echo Discord. The most recent update is of this character's route. Look how cute he is.
Oh, he's very cute.
Cliff, I was close.
Cliff.
Right, Clint's in this game.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say. Wait a minute. Why does that sound familiar?
Yeah, I crimed. I'm a crime boy. Look at me criming. No, Cliff is really cute. Look at him.
I like he's not wearing the glasses there, but I really like the glasses.
What's going on with his hand? Wait. Oh, he's holding something, I guess. Maybe. He's got a little glass and his hair is pushed back. I think he might be like some kind of like professor or something. I'm not sure.
Oh, so cute. With
He's
his
a
little
learned
bow
one.
tie.
See? This is where people like you go, Chase. You go be nerds.
Dude, Chase isn't even smart enough for that.
Although I think he's not. I don't think he's an otter. I think he's a stoat. There's definitely no big tail behind him. I think he's a stoat. Whoa. If that is really the date of origin on the top right corner, this photo of these guys was taken at City Hall 100 years ago. I looked back down to the folder, finding a caption note for the image. Sheriff William Adler left, and oh, that's not his name. Okay, I was like, oh my god, that's
Like, you got that really wrong.
I'm like, that's Cliff's name? Wensleydale?
Wensleydale.
And Wensleydale researcher Cliff Tibbets.
That's adorable.
Right? At town meeting to discuss Echo-Meseta tribe relations. Cliff Tibbets is a fucking adorable name. William Adler sounds like a freaking noir detective. So they're a sheriff and a researcher.
Sure. So they're discussing the relations.
Yeah.
Are either of them Meseta tribe at all, or are they just discussing the relations without a Meseta tribe being present?
I think they're there.
Wait, like the
Who
Meseta
knows?
tribe is just unshown.
I assume the town meeting is more than 2 people.
yeah.
But I don't think either of them are Meseta. Adler. I just realized now that's Janice's last name.
Oh yeah. Oh, I didn't know that.
Must be a distant relative of hers. It's only been 100 years. I don't know about distant. It's not that bad. Isn't that like your grandparent or great grandparent?
Yeah, I think
something-
great grandparent.
Janice isn't young either.
Yeah.
Might just be grandparent, honestly.
No. Like, well, no, because if they're this old in 1915, like old enough to like have a kid,
Yeah, it's hard to. It's
like
hard to
there has to be
sure.
overlap of generations because you can't like have a kid when you're 100. So it's like you're gonna probably be like 30.
Someone show us the family tree of the Echoverse. Whenever this happens, because it takes so much longer to come out, I'm just like, why is everyone sending me maps of Echo today? I don't know what happened. They'll just have like 3 different things light up, and everyone's sending me like the map of Echo and its layout. I'm like, what is this response to? I don't know what's happening. Everyone's saying fish again. The response of the documents in the folder just seems to consist of proposed additions and use changes for the building. A lot of them didn't pan out. There is a city government roster here, though, and it lists the historical election results for the town going back to the early 20th century. Surprisingly, Flynn and his aunt aren't the only Moores I see on the list. It looks like Moore family has been involved in public office in some capacity as far back as 1914. Which is doubly surprising, noting the prejudice against reptilians that was pretty heavy back then. There's this whole negative stereotype about them being evil and controlling the government that persists even today. What?
Maybe that was on purpose.
Wait.
Maybe that wasn't on purpose.
Wait. That's not the direction I thought they were going with the reptiles at all. Whoa. So it's pretty weird a family like the Moores managed to keep getting elected back when the ignorance levels were much higher. I'll make a note to ask Flynn about it, as sensitively as possible. I go ahead and put everything back in the folder before returning it to the shelf. So what next? As I turn around, I see the mayor standing in the doorway. She's peering at me quizzically. A little startled, I straighten up. Oh, hi, Mayor. I was just finishing up. I checked 4 things about the history of this town. My report's finished.
Yay, A+.
It's like, this folder was empty. This man was hot. History of unionization. The end.
Mines.
Yes, mines. She's watching me speak, like, staring at my mouth, not my eyes. It's honestly freaking me out a little bit. Did she see us being weird just now?
Were we talking to ourselves?
Because we were choosing those options? Did she watch? Did she witness us making a weird expression or whatever it is?
Maybe.
She doesn't respond. Mayor?
Make sure you put everything back where you found it.
Oh. Yeah, don't worry. I did that already.
Did you now?
She steps in the room and picks up a folder from the edge of the counter. I recognize it as the one from the abandoned mines. Oh, yeah. I forgot that one, sorry.
Nice going, Chase.
Immediate call out. She stands there with the folder held out, waiting for me. I quickly move to take the folder. I try to ignore the hard stare I feel on my back as I walk to the archive wall.
Far left end, second cubby from the top.
Oh, thank you. I didn't...
Mm-hmm. It looks like Flynn's about ready to take off. You gonna give him some company?
Phrasing.
Are you trying to get us to fuck?
The way she phrases that makes me reconsider a hasty response. Sure. I can hang out with him and his roommate.
Yeah, way to, like, add the roommate to make it seem more, less sexy, I guess. You have a boy in your car.
Does the mayor not know who Carl is?
That is weird. Because that is...
Both because he's the Hendrix boy and because he's Flynn's closest friend as far as I can tell.
As far as we know.
Yeah. What is their relationship like?
Maybe Carl... Well, no, Carl said he goes in there and fucks with Flynn all the time. Carl said that he goes in there. I was going to say maybe Carl...
I guess the mayor's just not being vague for some reason. Or didn't look.
Maybe it's like, maybe she's like the worst mayor ever. Like how...
just the worst mayor?
Well, like how Mr. Burns has that running joke where he never remembers who any of his employees are, even though Homer causes him constant problems, but he always forgets who the Simpsons family are.
It'd be more garish when your bubble has like 3 people in it.
Yeah, but like that the joke is that he, like, every episode he causes him fucked up problems, and then Mr. Smithers has to remind him, like, oh, that, like, that's Homer Simpson, sir, because, like, he never fucking remembers.
He was your wingman that one time.
And he's like, like he he never remembers anything. But like the mayor here maybe is just a terrible mayor where she only has like 200 people in her town and she doesn't remember fucking anyone's name.
That's Homer Simpson, sir. He's got the wires for the game. Thank you, Mr. Smith. That's stupid. I don't know what I'm doing.
Wires for the game.
I was trying to think of like what to do. I have watched so little Simpsons since I was a kid that my only recent memories are that time that we watched a bunch of it.
No. He had cable.
So, yeah, he had cable.
He's like,
he had the pay-per-view.
No, it wasn't pay-per-view yet because
he was stealing pay-per-view.
No, that's not pay-per-view. Didn't exist yet. He was stealing cable. He's stealing cable.
And there's no one had cable.
No one had cable. Yeah, that's how old this episode was.
I guess it was a Fox show, so it was something that you could watch without cable. But it's weird to imagine that being like, whoa, you have cable? That's crazy.
Homer was stealing cable, and Mr. Burns is rich and has enough money to buy whatever the fuck he wants, but he wanted the experience of being with like poor people. So that's why he went to Homer's house to like watch the fight with everyone, because he was like, like I want to be like one of the boys, like, It's like
the guy at the end.
Drink a beer.
It's like the guy at the end of what's it called? The spoonful.
What? What the fuck are you talking
Mary
about?
Poppins. There we go. I gotta get the name right.
Spoonful. If I'd gotten that from that, I would be like, a mind reader.
Yeah, like, well, I knew more than that. I obviously knew more of the phrase. I was just fucking with you, being like, see if she gets it off a spoonful.
Spoonful, huh?
Like it's named like that. Like it's named Spoonful. Like it's
what if I
Fruit
guessed
Loose
like the Shawshank Redemption because he dug the tunnel out with the spoon? Shawshank Redemption.
That'd be a weirder guess.
No, I don't know.
It's like the guy at the end of Shawshank. Remember? He hung himself.
the band, The Loving Spoonful.
What?
It's a band name.
Named Spoonful.
The Loving Spoonful.
The Loving Spoonful, as opposed to Spoon.
Or Spoon.
Or Spoon Man.
Spoon Man.
All right, that's the end of this bit. I blink.
182.
I have a car. In my car. Yes. He wanted to hang out back when he wanted to hang back while I did all the work. I feign a chuckle, though not very well. I've never been good at the whole smiling with your eyes thing.
Do smize? You're not good at smizing, as Tyra Banks would put it. You have to smize, girl. Smize. Carl Hendricks?
Yes.
Have a good rest of your evening, Chase.
Thank you, Mayor. You too.
That was weird.
Weird interaction. She moves on down the hall. After a moment, I follow suit to meet up with Flynn at the front desk.